Mark Jabin here, Medical Director for the Haywood County Health Department, and let's talk about this pandemic. This is being recorded on Saturday evening, and so please share this with someone that you care about. So it's time for our weekly review, and you may have heard that North Carolina has moved into phase 3 of reopening, and let's see what the numbers have to say about that. Across the country, you can see cases on the rise again, and of great concern, this rise is starting from a higher plateau than the earlier surges. And again, note here the migration of red areas towards the Midwest and mountain states. But also note that North Carolina has jumped up considerably this week, and especially in comparison to our immediate neighbors. For Haywood County, total cases for the entire pandemic now at 626. And since Labor Day, we have averaged around 26 new cases weekly, 23 in the past week. The COVID number has averaged around 74 since Labor Day. As of Friday, it's at 83. Hospitalizations in North Carolina is on the uptrend. And here in Haywood County, we have had a steady number of hospitalizations, but since the cluster at the hair salon, there have been an increase in the number of people in the ICU. And there are now 3 additional deaths in the past 2 weeks, not all related to that cluster, I might add. We're still waiting on the paperwork to officially be able to record these. Now that gives us a total for Haywood County through the entire pandemic of 34. And that's a case fatality rate of around 5.4%. The 7-day average of new cases, remember below 6 is good. The goal is to be around 1. North Carolina markedly up to 20 this past week. Haywood, we've remained pretty flat, slowly creeping up perhaps a little. Jackson and Graham actually had big increases, so much so that I'm trying to confirm the data, so I've not included that here. But you will notice Swain, Macon, Buncombe, and Henderson all with an increase, and that's consistent with the increasing cases statewide. Percent positive tests up a tad for the state at 5.6%. Remember, below 5% is the important threshold. For Haywood County, we have remained somewhere between 3.5% and 4% over the last few weeks. So here's what I think can be said. There is much for us to feel good about here in Haywood County with our numbers, but in the context of everyone around us, there are concerning signs of change. And remember, what we see today in the numbers really reflects what was going on 1 to 2 weeks ago. If you increase contact between people, enough of whom are not paying attention, that just turns up the heat. Turn up the heat and the pot starts to boil. Right now, the water is warming, and the question is, will it boil over? Schools in session, phase 3, people letting their guard down. The heat is rising, not to mention sorting out COVID versus flu versus all the other fall viral illnesses, which just makes this all the more difficult to navigate. The result depends on what each of us does. Avoid being in close contact with anyone, meaning avoid being within 6 feet for longer than 15 minutes without a face covering. This virus requires a degree of contact for a length of time to be able to jump from one person to the other. And continue to practice good hand hygiene. Although not the major way virus jumps to a person, hand contact from a contaminated surface nonetheless can result in transmission. Phase 3 carries with it less restriction, but also more precaution if we're going to continue to dance well. This is a time right now to be extra careful, not less careful. So be concerned about yourself, care about others, so we can all live not so much under the shadow of this virus. Be well and be careful, especially right now.